in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I got a question, and I lost the question, but it was basically how do you properly do a walkthrough to inspect a house? So understand this is, I'm assuming this is totally a live appointment, right? And I go on mostly live appointments in New York. Um, and I'm trying to accomplish a few things. First of all, I'm trying to build rapport with the seller. So the first thing I'm doing when I get there is I say, hey, this is going to take about 20 to 30 minutes. Give me a quick tour of the property, and then we're going to sit down and talk. Um, so I'm telling, and then afterwards, if you have any questions, I'll answer them, and I may have some questions for you. So first, I'm telling them how long it's going to take. They don't want me sitting there all day, right? They're afraid. Maybe they have a doctor's appointment in 2 hours. I'm telling them what's going on. I'm not going to break open a wall to check the insulation, but I'm going to look around. So while you're looking around, and my point of the in-person appointment, the goal of the in-person appointment is a few. Number one is I'm looking to assess what the repair estimates are, and I think that's the gist of the question. So we're going to talk about that shortly. Second of all, I'm getting the more information from the seller. Sorry, and I'm building some rapport with the seller, so the seller wants to sell to me as opposed to somebody else maybe who didn't come, or maybe somebody else who was made this an unpleasant experience. And a lot of investors go there and make this an unpleasant experience. So just before I say what you do, just to tell you what you don't do, you don't go over and point out every problem, right? You don't go over and look at a hole in the wall, and go and take a picture of it, do that. People, there are gurus who teach that. What happens is that then the entire appointment becomes a negative experience. People don't like to sell to people who they had negative experiences, and that's what I believe. So I make it a positive experience, right? And if they tell me, "Oh, this is bad," I go, "You know what? I promise you, I've seen much, much, much worse." And I tell them it's really not that bad. It's not that bad, and I try and make them feel good. Okay, so when you're going on inspection, for me, I'm looking at six things. Now, a couple of them are from the outside. So the first thing on the outside is I'm looking at the fascia, whatever surrounds the house. Is it decent? If not, can I paint it? And the roof and the windows, right? How does the house look on the outside? I'm not looking at the landscaping. Believe me, that's stupid things that you can probably make better for $500. Looking at the roof. Do I need to replace the roof? Do I need to replace the windows? Those are expensive. Roof is expensive. And the fascia, is it siding? Is it brick? Is it okay? Can I leave it? Does it look good? Does it need paint? In general, I'm not going to replace the fascia. If the fascia is bad, so it's, let's say, old aluminum siding, or cedar shingle or something, I may just paint it. That's the first thing when I'm on the outside. Inside, I'm looking for five things. I'm looking for the kitchen, the bathrooms, the flooring, the walls, and the mechanicals. So that's what I'm looking for. So the first thing I want to see is the kitchen. Do I need to replace the entire kitchen? Do I need to just replace the countertops? I just bought a house. All I did is replace the countertops. That's not expensive. Oh, and it also needed appliances. Do I need appliances, countertops, and the cabinets, and the flooring in the kitchen, right? Which is not expensive, but if it's linoleum, it's going to need to go. So I'm looking at the kitchen, and I'm saying, what do I need to do in the kitchen? And I'm not looking at, hey, this whole kitchen has to go. Very often I'll buy a property that has good cabinetry with crappy countertops, or even good cabinets and good countertops, but it has crappy appliances, and I'm saying, okay, I can do the appliances here for $2,000. This kitchen, done. Next thing I'm looking at is the bathrooms, all the bathrooms. So if you've got four bathrooms, and one of them's in the basement, you may not need to do the one in the basement, even if it's crappy. But certainly if there's a master bathroom, you want it to look good. And I'm looking for what can I do here for the least amount of money, right? I'm not looking at, hey, do I have to rip up the tiles? Anytime you rip up tiles in a bathroom, you're asking for trouble. You're going to find new problems, new things that you weren't counting on. A lot of old bathrooms that I find that are, let's say, a lot of properties in my area were built in the 50s, and the tile work is perfect. It's squares or rectangular subway tile. Tile work is beautiful, just really crappy color. Green, blue, yellow, pink, horrible. So I may reglaze those, right? I may just reglaze them all white and maybe put a new floor down and reglaze the tub, and then put in a new toilet and a new vanity, right? That whole thing that I just said, probably around $1,000. I get a bathroom that looks good. Now, if it's the master bathroom, I may want to actually rip up the tiles and do it. But if it's one bathroom and everything works, all the plumbing works, everything's good, I'm going to take care of that. So I'm looking at the kitchen, I'm looking at the bathrooms, figuring out how much this is, how much do I have to do. Third thing is I'm looking at the floors. So what are the floors? Are they ugly carpet that I have to rip up? What's underneath? Is there hardwood underneath? Right? Obviously, everyone prefers hardwood today, and I can refinish almost any hardwood, right? And I bought properties that had dog urine and cat urine stains on them, horrible circles of. I know the smell. I can tell the difference between dog urine and cat urine already. And I just rip up the carpet, sand the floors, stain the floors, and it looks beautiful. I'd say stain them dark if there's stains always. So I'm looking at the flooring. Right? I will tile a bathroom and a kitchen. Sometimes I'll put laminate across the whole thing. It depends on the situation. It's not easy, but I'm looking at flooring. So I'm checking out flooring. Okay, it needs $5,000 for flooring, let's say. And I'm looking at the walls. Are there holes? I've just looked at a house today that has shiplap. Shiplap are little wood slats. Little wood slats that came really before the current studs and sheetrock that we do. So it's slats, sometimes covered with plaster. It's a bit of a bitch to work with, but I need to fix all that. The house I saw today probably needed $6,000 worth of sheetrock work. So the walls are good, and I need to paint another $2,000, so let's say $8,000, and then I'm looking at the mechanical. So how's the boiler? So the house I saw today, terrible. I need a new boiler. It's a 2-family. I'm going to need 2 zones come out. Could be 15 grand in plumbing, right? The electrical was good. Actual new box, new service, good. But I may need to wire new home runs, as they call them, which are runs from all the receptacles into the thing. Could be 10 grand in electrical. So those are the things that I'm looking at every time I go through the property. So I can get a repair estimate. And I'm writing down needs. I'm not writing dollars. I'm writing down needs. New electrical in the whole house. It needs plumbing in 1 bathroom. It needs 2 bathrooms. It needs a kitchen. It needs a roof. Whatever it is, I'm just writing it down. Afterwards, I'm going to figure out what the number is. But that's just for my notes to figure out what that is. That's what I'm looking for. People go, well, why aren't you looking for foundation issues? We don't have foundation issues in New York. Okay, I realized this recently. Texas is built on this shitty clay. A lot of California is built on shitty land that shifts. And you get foundation cracks and the whole fucking house is tilted, right? Or dip in the middle. We are on bedrock in New York. Very, very rare to have a foundational problem. Very rare. 1 in a million. Can it happen? Yeah. But will you see it? I guess. But just doesn't come up, right? I've done hundreds and hundreds, not 1,000 houses. Never had a foundation issue that I couldn't deal with. Once a house that was crazy with Sandy where the whole thing came up and you saw it, the whole basement was destroyed. But I didn't end up buying it because it needed to be lifted. Different situation. So that's really what I'm looking for. 6 things on every house. Now, again, if you're in Texas, you got to think of foundational work first because almost every house has some shifting going on, right? And that could be $5,000, $8,000. It's not a deal breaker. People are so afraid of when they start. They're so afraid of missing something that's going to kill the deal. I can tell you, if you're buying your deal at enough of a discount as you should be, there's very few things that come up that are going to kill the deal. There are things that come up that'll reduce your profit, but they're not going to kill the deal. There's no, hidden. Well, if you don't look for housing and building searches, and you have open permits, then everything can escalate. So what happens if there's an open permit or an open violation, and you bring the municipality in? Suddenly they might find all kinds of crap. So there's a lot of properties in Levittown that do not have a C of O for the second floor. They were built as a shell second floor. And then over the last 70 years, people finished all of those, right? So if you go there, but even then, what the hell is it going to be? You're going to have some money, something to do to finish it, and maybe you got to run a new electrical on the second floor, maybe new plumbing on the second floor. But these are not deal breakers. They're $5,000 problems. I had a deal where I didn't think I was going to do the roof. I thought the roof was fixed. The roof wasn't fixed. And I thought it would be $2,000 to repair. It was $10,000. So it was an $8,000 bump that I didn't count on, but didn't kill the deal, right? None of these things should kill the deal. So this fear that people have, I'm going to walk through the house, I'm going to miss this glaring error that I shouldn't, that everyone else saw that I didn't, very rarely happens. I'm really looking for those 3 things. Again, the outside of the house, which I included the roof, the fascia, that's whatever's surrounding the house, and the windows. Those things are important, right? Old crappy windows you're going to have to replace. You need at least double pane glass. And then I look at the 5 things on the inside. That's all I do, right? And I'm there to find out really if the seller has a problem that I can solve, whether they do or they don't. If they don't, I'm not going to buy the house. So that's what I do on an inspection. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in or learn to flip in wholesale.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Sorry, I'm exhausted. I don't know why. I do know why. I went to sleep too late. Please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. I very rarely know what to say. Your questions give me a lot of topics to discuss and allow me to answer questions, which is the whole point of this channel. So please keep the questions coming. If it's something simple, a simple answer, I'll just reply. If it's something that I've covered recently, I'll send you a link to a video on it. And if it's something that I haven't covered in a while or that I've never covered, I will do a brand new video on. So thank you very, very much for watching.